Hello and welcome to The Secret Mind. My name is Jules and this is the last of a segment. So as I make these new videos, I did start several strands to a certain amount of criticism in the past, and my least popular strand was an experiment I was doing on Bitcoin. And I want to close that experiment today with the results. So the idea was to explore during the year one of many projects I've got, Bitcoin, con or cure. It was a thinly veiled thing, of course. It's not a con. The cons are surrounded around the product, not the actual product itself. And but could it be a cure for health, well-being? There's a concept often repeated of Bitcoin fixes everything. Well, okay, maybe. You can certainly put up strong arguments for all those sort of things. And it would be interesting if I had the time to write all those up, look into them, but I don't. And at the time, I also started a regular investment plan to see if that would be a wise thing to do. And the idea would be to run that for a year. I started on January the 1st. It's now November the 1st. And because of being in the UK, it's difficult to get major banks to put money into Bitcoin. They prevent you in certain ways. And I ended up using Binance, which is probably the biggest company. Binance have told me that their arrangement with moving cash backwards and forwards to banks is become ever more difficult. That happened halfway through last year. We're always getting warnings saying the banks aren't going to be willing to do that. You need to go elsewhere out of the big four and find internet-friendly banks, probably, if you want to do that. Monzo, Revolut, something like that are the ones that it says online. And the auto investment plan that I had this on was an auto invest thing that took $15 US dollars, as it happens, a week to see if that was a good investment. So I just want to show you the results of doing that now. If you'd ignored all the stuff you've heard in the press about it and just done that consistently. I did miss a couple of things. My money ran out at one point and I had to transfer some money in and I didn't notice it. I wasn't getting alerts, but I think I rounded up to that. I missed a couple of days as a result, and then I started putting in on a regular time basis to catch up, and then I overran. So I ended up putting slightly more in than I aimed to. But I think it's going to average out, certainly in percentage terms. It may be a little higher due to the recent increase, but it's going to be pretty much exact for a 10-month experiment. I don't think I'll give any update to this. They were my least popular videos. There's better people than me to talk about it. I just thought it was an interesting experiment to do, if there was any interest or if I had the time to do it. But I'm going to leave it after this. The auto invest thing, I think, is going to be closed, they tell me, on the 3rd of November, in which case the ease I can just pull this statistic for you to look at will possibly disappear in 2 days' time, in which case we'll just call this a 10-month experiment, and you can decide if you want to do the same. So this is what I ended up doing. This was my auto invest plan on Binance, $15 US dollars a week. And this was the result financially, $235 unrealized gain, they call it, as they say. This is profit. What is it? Profit and loss. Doesn't stand for that, but it's unrealized gains anyway. Gains that are sitting there waiting to be sold or cashed in. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to let it run. And this is the return on interest. So when you think about now, the return on interest was 0 to 1% for the last decade, weren't they? They've gone up this year, so you can get maybe 5-6% from your bank, most likely, if you remember to look. That's per year, obviously. Over 10 months, the return on interest with Bitcoin, which is more volatile, more risky, some people think. Although the pound, of course, has probably lost 15% of purchasing power this year alone. In that time, 18.65% would have been your return on interest if you'd held your money in Bitcoin instead of in, American dollars or UK pounds. So that is what you would have been facing, just with a slow, regular, consistent commitment. That's probably what it takes. A lot of things. That's probably what it takes to do good exercise, a slow commitment every day, learning the piano, getting good at anything, a slow commitment every day with the minimum amount of stress. So that was the experiment. That was a little glimpse of the history, and I'll leave it at that. That was an idea of how, if it was a solution for poverty, it might also be a cure for other things in life. A lot of people claim it's, a kind of a cure that way. I thought it was an interesting little title to call something the Bitcoin cure, but I'm not going to be using it. So if anybody else wants to write that book in the meantime, then please go ahead. But for now, that's the end of this strand. It was my least popular one, and we'll just retire it. You can make what you wish of the results or not. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.